So we have made it now to the military museum of Warsaw, where you can have some history about the military of Poland and the Polish Commonwealth that started like in the 10th century when this territory was Christianized and later expanded into this area near Poland, Germany, and some Baltic countries as well, and that extended to what's called nowadays the Czech Republic and Slovakia. So there you have these knights like this. And so we have the famous winged hussars from the 17th century. That charged against the Ottomans during the siege of Vienna, and they saved Christian kingdoms in Central Europe from the Ottoman invasion back then in the 17th century. So, and then after the wars of the 17th century, Poland was completely divided between the Russians, the Prussians, and the Austrians as well. But later on, during the Napoleonic period, Napoleon made them independent again by creating the Duchy of Warsaw. And there you have these uniforms here from that time, as you can see. And then, just like that, here we have the representation of what they look like back in the days. And so later on, the Duchy of Warsaw came to an end, finishing the Polish aspirations to be an independent country once back again. And so they were split once more between the Russians, Prussians, and the Austrians. And so during the course of the 19th century, the Poles faced many insurgencies against all major European powers in this area. The Prussians, the Austrians, and the Russians mostly, because they managed to revolt against the Russians, but then the Prussians and the Austrians came to aid the Russians against these rebellions in this place, and so they were constantly suppressed. During the course of the First World War, Polish soldiers had to fight by different major powers. There were Germans, Austrians, and Russians, and even some would fight for France as well. France has a specific regiment, so they would fight for different powers back then, and until they got their independence in early 20th century, after the First World War, when the Polish state was created. But still, there were many conflicts, especially against the Russians, and also against the Germans as well, and the Ukrainians, and basically everyone that was on the Polish border, because there were border disputes even after the war has ended. So yeah, it's not a very good place to be, because you were in the middle of these major powers, and later on it became evident after during the Second World War, when they split Poland, the Soviets and the Germans. And so this was one of the examples of French tank that the Polish army used, especially in the aftermath of the First World War against the in the capture of Kiev, and also in the defense of during the Battle of Warsaw against the Soviets. And later on, used in the campaign of 1939 when they were invaded by the Soviets and the Germans at the same time. And so during the Second World War, there were Polish units in the British Army fighting for the liberation of their country, in which they helped by serving with the British Army against the Germans. Well, that country was split between Germans and Soviets, and then because the Germans eventually they invaded the Soviet Union, so they took the whole country for them. And then, so yeah, it's part of the history. But then there were also Poles fighting for the Soviets for the liberation of their country. As you can see, some regiments were created by Stalin as soon as Poland was all occupied by the Germans. And so in 1944 it started the Warsaw Uprising against the Germans, where so basically the underground Polish army that was here in Warsaw conducting the rebellion against the Germans, they decided to take a revolt and and they started the uprising against the Germans. And so in 1944 the uprising of Warsaw started. The resistance that were here in Warsaw, they just rebelled against the German occupation of the city, while the Soviet army was approaching the city, and they let them fight against the Germans until pretty much the rebellion was mostly smashed by the Germans, and then the Soviets moved on and they took the city for themselves with the help of the Polish army that they had made previously. So if you like about military history, this museum is really great. It's a brand new museum. It's here in the citadel of this museum. There are many different museums about military history here, but this one tells you literally about all the history about Poland as well. So with all the conflicts that there was since the creation of the first Polish kingdom, but pretty much. So I think it's really worth it. The entrance it's about 10 euros or 40 zlotys in this case, so which is about 10 euros, and it's really worth coming here. So if you are in Warsaw, I would recommend you to come here into this museum. Right, let's just go to the outside and let's just find a place to eat some proper meal because I'm starving. Right off the museum, you have these military tanks here. Most of them, they were produced during Soviet times. There you have some. These ones are basically Polish manufactured tanks here, and then over there you have Soviet produced tanks. I mean, they were produced in Russia back in the days. For instance, you have the IS-2, the T-34 as well. And so if you like to check. And if you like to check these vehicles here, you can always come to this museum. So you have these monsters over here. All right, so let's now just head out from here and find a place where we can eat a proper meal. So this is the experience in a canteen here in Prague. I've just ordered a soup and this juice here. Let's wait for the dumplings. Let's go. Let's try to eat this. Let's try this soup. Delicious. Very good. And now let's gonna try the dumplings. Let's try some dumplings here. These are made with meat. Very good. Very delicious.